Hey everybody, Manny Talibert here. We're now on day 70 of day 71, I think, of the seven-figure climb. And what I'm going to talk about today is becoming famous in a niche and kind of explain the benefits of it, what it means, what it entails, what the goal is, and the reason you want to do it. And so ultimately, if you're going to sell a lot of something to a group of people, you need to be famous to that group of people. You need to become famous in a niche, whatever that niche is. And you do that by, you do that by building an audience, delivering a lot of value to that audience and selling to that audience. And then what happens? The more you sell to that audience, the bigger that audience grows. And ultimately, you have, hopefully you have 25,000 people in a group and they're active, but you also have them on an email list so that you can communicate with them and make offers to them. Now, this is the thing. You don't make any money if you don't offer anything. You don't make any money if you build an audience and you don't deliver value and demonstrate that you can help them by helping them. To become famous in a niche, you got to deliver the value. You got to bring the heat. And there are, I've got my problems with my group, and I could give you, we could talk about that a lot, but I can tell you that most people are focused on the wrong thing here. You need to focus on offer, audience, getting your message out to as many people as you can, and then finding that group of people that you want to work with and really pouring value into them. Your Facebook group is not a place to debate with people. It's not a place for people to have their own opinions. Your Facebook group is a place for people to follow you, know, like, and trust you, and invest with you in some way if they feel need to do so. And the thing is, what you want to think about, if you can get 25, let's say you get, let's just say 15,000 people. If you get 15,000 people and you can get 150 of those people to give you $2,000, you're a third of a way to a million. And if you can get 1,000 of those people to give you $1,000, you're there. And so what you've got to do is you got to pour into that group of people and cause them to want to move forward with you. And you become famous in a niche by just simply grinding every day. And this is the thing. It don't matter until you're famous. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter if people aren't seeing you, it doesn't matter. And we're going to talk about influence in a lot of ways, because there's a lot that goes into this, but that is essentially the goal, to become famous in a niche. Now, fortunately, what we're talking about is national, international. And so the great thing is that you're famous to a group of people who, within reason, besides if you're doing live events, you're probably not going to actually meet with those people. The only thing they're going to be doing, they're going to be on your Zoom calls, they're going to be on your, they're going to buy your coaching, and so they're going to have some interaction with you. But for the most part, there's a good amount of distance there. You're not going to spend time with them in person besides doing live events. And a lot of people now don't even do live events. And so that's what you want to think about. And, Frank Kern talks about this, and we'll kind of go into it. When Frank first became famous in a niche after selling the mass control, he was billing himself as the underachiever. And the underachiever was the person who, was an underachiever and actually made it. And when Frank sold mass control, he thought he would be selling it to business owners. Unfortunately, he was selling it to biz op people, people who had never built anything. And so, unfortunately, he got famous to a group of people that he was weirded out by. And what Frank found was that these people would find him. They would kind of show up where he was at, and he was very, very, very weirded out by that. And he was put off by it. And he had a lot of anxiety. And Frank said, when he first got into this, he didn't have any of that, but now he has anxiety. He doesn't like crowds. He tends to want to only travel private as far as flying. And, Frank, at the time he was talking about this, he had a young kid, so he would go to Disneyland, Disney World, but he said those things were very difficult because he would get recognized. And and I totally get that. And so you got to get that there's going to be a drawback to everything that you do. And we're not movie stars, fortunately. We're not celebrities. But there is a drawback to being constantly recognized. It gets very, very old after a while. I'll give you a lot of stories on this. And it's just like the haters. You're going to have a lot of haters no matter what you do, no matter how ethical you are. There are going to be people who are trolls. They attack you for attention. What's interesting, there are people now on YouTube, and all they do is they attack gurus for attention to become to get views. And so, unfortunately, you're not going to get around that. The bigger the group you have, the bigger the audience you have, the more you're going to be attacked. And so the only thing I can tell you is all of this is part of the deal. You're going to be attacked. You are going to be sometimes recognized. Some of you will be, it won't bother some of you all. It bothers me a lot more than it used to. And I'm trying to work on it. But I have a lot of the same feelings that Frank Kern has about it as far as being noticed and recognized. And unfortunately, I'm not famous in a niche so much, but more locally. And I created that, and I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened. And so, so the only thing I can tell you here is, um, you can't do, you got to build the thing, right? And you got to be the person, you got to be the person in front of the camera, you got to be the voice. You can't hide behind a corporation and think you're going to make millions of dollars. You're going to have to become famous in a niche, and when you do that, well, you're going to be recognized. So the thing I would advise you to do is make sure you're becoming famous with the group of people that you want to be famous in front of, people that you like interacting with, people who you like working with, because you're going to spend a lot of time with those people. And so I think it's very, very important that you do that. And so, and like I said, there's no way around this. Fortunately, like I said, national, international, I can tell you, I've been doing this for years and years and years and years. I probably, besides going to like Funnel Hacking Live, I probably haven't met but maybe 4 or 5 people who have bought from me, interacted with me. And so the benefit of this is you're national and international. You're not going to have local people unless you're in an area where a lot of those people are. Like if you were in, if you're a marketer in San Diego, there's a lot of marketers there. San Diego, LA, New York City. So your chances of being recognized in bigger cities are higher. But like I said, the bottom line is you just don't have to worry about it. But like I said, the problem is some of these stalkerati are going to like seek you out and try and find you, and there's no way around that. And so I became famous in a niche 2 different times. I owned a pool room in Carmel, Indiana, and I was pretty much recognizable to anyone at a certain age group in town. And there are some benefits and drawbacks. I can tell you the benefit of owning a pool room or being famous in that niche is, I can tell you I didn't pay for fast food. I didn't pay for dry cleaning. I didn't pay for movie theater tickets. There's a metric ton of stuff that was just given to me by people who came in, loved the place. They worked at all of these different various places, and they bring me stuff. They would bring it to me for free. Sometimes they bring it to me for free without asking. Sometimes they would ask. And so people would often call me and say, Manny, I work over here. I work at this restaurant. I'm coming to hit balls. Do you want me to bring you some food? And so you will get that. And like I said, and then going out in public, recognized within reason all the time. And I get the same thing in Newcastle now. That's a little bit more put offing because I built a private Facebook group in Newcastle with 17,000 in it. And so within reason, every time I go to Walmart, I get recognized by 8 or 10 people. People say hi. Everyone is super friendly, but it's very put offing because I've got that anxiety like Frank talks about. And so there are some benefits to it. especially if you have wealthy clients or wealthy people in the space, you'll be very, very surprised how giving a lot of people are and how willing to help they are. And a lot of people just want to be a part of something bigger than them. And so being famous in a niche is going to have its, the positives, but it's also going to have its negatives. And what's interesting is I have been having a lot of issues. I don't want to go to Walmart. And I wish I could say I never go to Walmart. Unfortunately, medicine is the one thing they won't deliver to me. And it seems like I'm in Walmart every other day getting more medicine and maybe either ran out of medicine or got to get new medicine. And so there's always a prescription being called in for me. And so unfortunately, I have to go. And and like I said, the great thing is everyone seems to be very, very friendly. And I'm not weird. I am weirded out by it, mostly because people recognize me who I don't know, and I don't want to ask them who they are. But like I said, you'll get this. You'll get a lot of this. And so, like I said, fortunately, I'm sure you're probably not going to do anything local, so it's probably not going to be a problem. But what you need to think about is if you want influence, you need to become famous. You need to, the more money you make, the more influence you'll have. The more famous you are, the more influence you will have. The more famous you are, also there's some benefits to it. And no one talks about this, but I'm going to tell you something. Frank Kern, Russell Brunson, all of these big name marketers are not paying the amount of money for ad spend or ads that we're paying because they're famous in a niche, because they don't have any trouble getting clicks because of who they are. And so ultimately, in my opinion, they get a real pass when it comes to ad spend because they people already know them. Now the thing is, it does cost a lot of money to get there, and they've certainly spent a lot of money on ads to get there. But I can tell you that there are some benefits, and once you get big enough, the other thing is the bigger you are, within reason, probably the more reach you're going to get in some cases. And so more reach is going to be more eyeballs. More eyeballs is essentially more money, and we'll talk about that. But I just wanted to give you all some insights on what all this looks like. But I appreciate you all being here, and we will see you all in the next video, and thanks a lot.